Nice play by one of the Longhorn freshman guards, Kendall Yancey there. Speaking of guards, one of, we always talk about when guys come back to the program, you say, here's one of my favorites. And it might not be in that case. In this case, I guess is one of your favorites and one of my favorites too.
One of my all-time favorites because I often tell people when I reflect back on the first year that we got here, and I think anytime there's a coaching change and that you come in, there's going to be some questions whether or not, or who's going to fall in, who's going to go, but I tell people all the time, Ivan was really the first guy that, and he was also that spring he was the defending high jump champion, right?
Correct.
And I remember Bubba Thornton said, "Hey, are you going to make him do these spring workouts and don't want to get him hurt?" And so I said, well, every chance he gets, if he'll just come over and be with us, and so, but we won't do anything, obviously, because he was defending champion. And well, I'll never forget, he walked in, and I said, well, let's just shoot some free throws. His very first shot, he missed a free throw about 16 feet.
There's a little more to that story.
Yeah. No, there is.
I want to hear the rest.
All right, well, we're going to this is Ivan Wagner, by the way, former Longhorn outstanding guard who does a lot of things. We'll talk about his duties here in town and with the University of Texas and the Irwin Center momentarily. But, yeah, get to the story because sometimes I get the feeling we don't hear the entire story.
No, it's not the entire story. So, first of all, it's our initial practice, right? I think at that time we had 7 scholarship athletes. 2 guys were transferring out.
4 walk-ons.
Well, we hadn't gotten that far yet.
Yeah.
We're just in spring. 2 guys are kind of in limbo on if they're going to be with us going forward or move on. We hold practice. I forget which high school or
we didn't even have
is that a private school?
Yeah, it was over off 38th Street, I think, 34th Street, whatever the school is over there. Yeah.
And it's myself and Chris Clack and a host of coaches. And they're putting us through this ridiculous workout. Just the 2 of us, no water breaks. I mean, you cannot believe the intensity that we're going through this workout, just 2 of us, full court, round and round, making laps, this basket, that basket, this basket, that. Well, shortly thereafter, he says, let's shoot free throws now. I don't have any legs. I don't have any shoulders. I don't have lungs. I don't have anything. And the result.
Only players ever shot a free throw hit me in the head.
he says 16 feet. I think it was more 12.
Yeah, but I'm thinking, but really, I think back though, Ivan was unbelievable. I mean, he one of the best defensive players. That was a great defensive team that we had, and he could lock down people, but he was our point guard, and real quickly knew how to bring it all together. I mean, he really helped Chris Mim a lot because we were doing a lot of things for Chris, and Ivan was a great post feeder. But I can remember we're struggling here, but I think we're going to beat maybe Utah, and you believe, and he goes in and he's got a wide open layup.
Georgia.
Was it Georgia? Was that what?
Well, Georgia's. If you're saying last second to win the game.
Remember your shoe came up. Remember your shoe blew out.
That's Georgia.
He had a wide open layup.
We're going to get our first victory.
Yeah, and I think he's going to dunk the ball, which he could do easily, but it just blew off, right? I mean.
You threw a shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think 2 years later they were in Nike.
Yeah, but he did. The shoe just blew up, and I mean I've never seen it, and
fully laced.
Yeah,
just landed in the cameraman's lap.
But Ivan was he was special, and I tell people, and I was saying earlier, to me he was the guy that helped us really implement what we wanted to do because he's tough, hard nosed, and. Every day, he played, and he was very calm. And had you played? I don't think you had played the point a lot, had you? Because you left NC State.
Not really. Yeah, in high school I played off the ball. At State we ran a little bit of a motion, so you kind of come off the ball early, and anyone's really bringing it up.
Yeah.
So under Coach Barnes, in the 2 years I played with him, was the first time that I really played the ball. I mean, Penders, same thing, fast break. You kick it up, whoever has it pushes it up the floor, and you go.
And obviously, as Rick pointed out, there's that transition period when student athletes who come to school and one guy is the coach and another coach. It's difficult, isn't it, mentally to make that adjustment and then decide I'm going to stick with this. I fully buy into this.
Right. Well, my story is starting with NC State and coming over to Texas. In 5 years of college ball, I had 4 different coaches at one point. And so I was constantly adjusting. Coach Barnes being the only coach that, I had tenure with. And so, it's hard as a high school athlete to kind of forget what you were and adjust into a new role for what you're going to be on that particular team. You see it all the time. you wouldn't believe this, but I was a scorer in high school.
Nice
You know,
shot. Now you can shoot.
being the fifth option on a team, you know, is a difficult transition. You do it because you want to play, obviously, and if you want to be on the floor, then you do what's necessary for the team. And so, but that's a huge adjustment for a lot of high school athletes.
You know, we were talking about the Olympics before we came on. We were talking about how do some people get into all these, like the luge
or the half pipe, you know, and snowboarding.
How did you, basketball, high jump, track? Did you do football in high school too?
I played football through my freshman year.
How did you get into the jumping?
High jump, 7th grade. I'm out there running around and just having a great time, not really knowing what I'm doing. We're Western roll, we're doing somersaults. I mean, a bunch of kids just going, and the coach knew a little bit about it and said, "Hey, you guys like this? Let me show you how you get it done." And from there, it was just an enjoyable sport for me.
I'm going to ask Rick to stick around. Normally, I go one-on-one with our first guest, but I want you, because I know you've got some special memories, too, of what Ivan has done in the transition from the collegiate game into the next level. Do that. Ivan Wagner, lifetime Longhorn, our special guest, and Longhorn Weekly with head coach Rick Barnes continues in a moment. We welcome you back to Longhorn Weekly with head basketball coach Rick Barnes, a special guest, Longhorns guard Ivan Wagner from the first season. Now, in the interest of fairness, since we talk about you throwing a shoe, blowing a tire there, we should also show one of your highlight moments. And Rick, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Analyze this. This is against Kansas, and here's Ivan with a big moment there.
Oh, he could do that. I mean,
posterizing dunk there.
And Ivan could shoot. I mean, there's a lot of things he could do. But what I love about him was his character. You knew right from the beginning he was a leader, and you knew that he was going to be successful. I just, whatever he went into, and he's also the kind of person that you wanted to stay around the program some way, somehow, because he was such a great role model. And Ivan is, just like he's done now in his professional life, whatever he does, he's going to put everything into it, and he's going to do it.
All right, so let's talk about that. What you've done now in your professional life, as you transitioned out of basketball, but stayed very, very close to the action.
Yes, I'm what I call myself a professional hot dog salesman. So I work in food and beverage, and the company Sodexo is contracted by university to handle all of their concession sales and also some of their premium area sales.
What got you interested in that?
I used to walk underneath DKR before the North End was remodeled, and I'd see these guys all the time, and I started to build a relationship with these guys, and I told them, I'm going to be graduating here pretty soon, and I don't think I'm going to put a lot of effort in trying to pursue a professional basketball career, and so I'm going to need a job. And it just so happened they had a manager and training program that I kind of waltzed into, and from there, a lot of long hours, a lot of nights, weekends, and holidays, and I'm back at the university.
You never really ever even thought about coaching, did you? You just kind of...
I've thought about it, but I've never really pursued it.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if I have the patience for it. I'm not sure if I can, at your level, handle the politics that comes with it. And then I'm a dad, and I have a sister, and I know friends with kids, and I don't know if I can deal with the parents.
No.
I understand that's even tough for high school coaches and junior high coaches.
Yeah, it's rough.
You know, too, Craig, when Ivan went to NC State, the guy that recruited him there was Eddie Biedenbach.
Eddie Biedenbach,
and
great guy.
When I got hired here at Texas, Eddie was one of the first guys that called me, and he actually told me, he said, "You're going to love Ivan Wagner." He said he is tough, he's hard-nosed, and he said you're going to love him. And I felt like that until he hit me in the head. But I said, "This is my point guard." but one thing about Ivan, I tell you what, first of all, we won the league that year.
Yep.
We won it early. I think we won it a couple games before the season was over with. But the fact is, we were just talking. We ended up being a pretty tough-minded group of guys. But it was led with Ivan. Ivan was a guy that set the tone. And remember, we had days in practice where we didn't have, until we got the walk-ons.
We got the walk-ons, which you didn't always let participate. Yeah. I mean, there were a lot of 4-on-4 drills and 4-on-4 full court and 4-on-4 half court.
How about the 1-on-1 full court?
That's what made me miss the free throws.
Yeah. Hey, because I was so concerned about us being in shape. I remember one day I would put a minute on the clock and have guys play one-on-one full court for a solid minute. And that doesn't sound like it's hard
It's
when
brutal.
you're making them guard full court.
Yeah.
And if a guy runs by you, you can't. I mean, it was amazing. And
It was for a minute or first to three.
yeah, and it would.
Not like you remember, though, Ivan.
I think
Burned in there.
I think I used to start telling guys, this is a separation drill. We're going to separate the men from the boys right here. But that was hard. But we had some guys, and no one wanted to go against Ivan because he could go and play all day and run all day and come on, you know.
Ivan, we mentioned about you transitioning once you graduated and moving into Sodexo. How important was it to be involved with something that was still close to what was going on athletically here on campus for you in carving out your career at Sodexo?
Well, being a part of the athletic program, albeit through a subcontractor's position, you still get the energy from all the fans that are attending the events. You understand it's a big deal. You understand the pride and tradition that goes into it, my personal blood, sweat, and tears. And so being a part of something that so many people take enjoyment in is huge for me. I mean, I wanted to be a part of the athletic department in a way, and then I didn't have an opportunity to get in through the traditional way. But this allowed me to still be connected to the university and to the athletic department and to still feel as though I'm a part of that experience for all the fans.
He'll always be a part of it,
Yeah.
because again, I'll go back. He helped us put the foundation in that we needed to get in, and he's always been a big part of it.
You logged a lot of long hours early on, right, for Sodexo. Did you eat a lot?
Still.
Yeah. Did you eat a lot of leftover hot dogs?
Well, I'm about 40 pounds heavier, so hot dogs, burgers, fries, you name it, I've probably had my share.
I didn't realize you considered yourself a professional what'd you say?
Professional hot dog salesman.
I didn't know that. I mean, I admire you even more now because I love hot dogs.
Next time, buy two.
I'm not sure I've ever had one of yours though. Do you have the coleslaw and all that stuff?
If you want.
Well, we can talk about it then.
Carolina guy, always looking for the slaw, huh?
Yeah, gotta have it.
Absolutely. Ivan, what stands out to you most about your time at the University of Texas as a student athlete and playing for Coach Barnes?
I think it's a tremendous amount of family that you feel. I mean, you come up and you establish friendships that last a lifetime. You establish great friendships with your coaching staff. The athletic staff was great in helping you mature and navigate your way through life to your next steps. We have Mr. Patterson there now, but Mr. Dodds was huge in supporting our program and some of the efforts by the student athletes. And so you take away the whole family atmosphere of the University of Texas.
Right.
How many of your former teammates back then do you stay pretty close contact with?
I'd say probably at least 8 to 10.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is amazing now thinking about. How old are you now, Ivan?
37.
Can you believe it? Huh? I mean, it's amazing. Like I say, he's his father, and he's. I think about Gabe and Maurice Evans, all those guys, that are family guys now. And I actually got a great call from Chris Owens the other. He called me and left a message and just said he's so excited about it, and he'll see us soon.
He's coming home.
Yeah, he's coming home. But it's just amazing thinking back to that group of guys as I've watched them, like along with Ivan, just become just
The core of where it started
Yeah,
for
yeah.
you here.